Hey y'all, what's going on? Whew. I have tried to go live a couple of times, and for whatever reason, it's not letting me go live. It keeps freezing. I'm 15 minutes in, it'll start freezing. So, anyways, I have taken those lives down. This is episode 20 of Get You Some Therapy. Episode 20 of Get You Some Therapy. Of course, I am Megan McGlover coming to you live. And we are going to talk today about Monique and her son, Shalon. Very briefly, I just want to give you a little bit of a background before I go into the video that I'm going to show you that Shalon did with a guy named Kev DeComic, KEVDACOMIC, Kev DeComic. He did a interview, and it's like 4 hours and 21 minutes. I did not watch the whole thing because I've been kind of following what's been going on, and that's a long time to listen to this type of situation. So anyways, so let me just give you a very, very brief background. A couple of years ago when Monique did her biggest grandstand about D.L. Hughley, and she was performing, I can't remember where it was. I think it was Detroit, Michigan or something like that. She was performing. She was supposed to be on the ticket. She was supposed to be the headliner or whatever, the last person, this and the other. She was very upset about that. She got on stage and she went completely off. I did a video at that time and I said, it would have been really, really nice if her husband, who she says is her leader and is her man and is her daddy, he also calls her mama. So it seems to be, that they're equal in that. But this is her leader. It would have been great at that time for him to take the reins and bring in some rational thinking during her extremely emotional imbalance. Let's put it that way, right? So I did a video about that. Well, now, Monique has been on Shay Shay, which of course has brought her a lot more eyes back to the situation. She has now been touring with Cat Williams. Again, more eyes to the situation. And just to be honest with you, from a comedic standpoint, and when I say comedic standpoint, I mean, I am funny in my own right. I've been called a comedian. I don't write jokes or anything like that. So I feel that it's a little different for me. But I do really, really appreciate comedy. I appreciate good comedy. Comedy has always been a part of my life. It's always been something that I've admired and that I really, really enjoy. Well, from my personal standpoint, what Monique is doing and what she's been doing for a very long time, the last few years, is not comedy. She has lost her unique ability, or maybe she just doesn't use her unique ability to tell a story. Now, this thing that she's talking about, being upset with Oprah and Tyler Perry, and they can suck her penis and all this other stuff, and the thing with D.L. Hughley and some of the other people, now Kevin Hart's being involved, so on and so on. These things can be, these issues or concerns can be told in a comedic way when you're on, when you're on stage. If there is a way to actually do it, but for some reason, it's serious enough to her for her not to, really kind of go into this from a comedic standpoint, but you're doing it on a comedic stage. So I'm finding some, it's just not, it doesn't seem to be working well, for me at least. Well, so that's that. So anyways, so now let's speed it up a little bit. So her son, Shalon, which is her oldest son, did a initial video a couple of months ago. He talked about his mom, because she had mentioned him and kind of talked about, what's going on in their relationships. Now, he did kind of come off very scripted and poetic. And he said at the beginning of the video, the reason why he's going to sound that way is because he's reading from the notes that he wrote down. He's not very good off the cuff, so forth and so on. So, he stated his feelings or whatever. I didn't respond to it because I just kind of wanted to see where this was going to go. I had my own thoughts. Then Monique and Sydney I was going to say daddy, but it ain't my daddy. And then Monique and Sydney, they did a response. And in that response, after that response, she posted up some private text messages between herself and her son, Shalon, right? Again, I didn't say anything because I'm like, oof, okay, let's see. So now she is on stage because she's touring with Cat Williams, saying things, making comments about her personal life, which is what comedians do. That's what we all do. It's not a big deal. However, her son has now come out, Shalon, and has done this interview with Kev the Comic and has expressed he don't like it. He don't like it at all. And I'm going to talk to you about why it is so important. You know, I can't stand these headphones that y'all made me get. I'm going to talk to you about why it is so important that you get therapy and you get it quick. You get it and you get it quick because all of this, all of it, from the rooter to the tutor, could have been taken care of and should have been handled therapeutically. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. So let's look at real quick. I want to show you a couple of different points from the interview that he did with Kev the Comic.
We supposed to hold hands and sit by the fire and burn marshmallows? Hell no, bruh.
She rich. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's a bigger fish than that. It's a bigger fish than that.
So Kev's the guy with the red and black shirt on. Don't confuse this interview with the last video that he did because he had on the same shirt. Okay, so there's two different things. Okay, when he did his first response, he had on the same shirt. Because I know sometimes you're like, oh no, that can't be the same video. Yeah, it is the same shirt, different video. Okay.
It's a bigger picture.
I think a lot of people would say that it's, to me, like I said, I could only speak on what I went through in that situation. A lot of it was ego. None of what took place happened because of a place of love or a place of trying to get an understanding.
He's talking about his mother.
That is corny. And that is why I feel bad for her fan base. Because the fact that it was even presented to them that way is a literal tattletale that this person thinks you're dumb. The fact that they're even presenting the information to you like this. What mother have you ever met in your life thought it was a good idea to post private messages about her mentally ill son to the damn world? What mother do you know that does that? There isn't one. There is not one. Mothers are not supposed to do that. And most people that are saying, hey man, just forgive. Well, let's say I do forgive. Then what? What I'm supposed to do next? We supposed to hold hands and sit by the fire and burn marshmallows?
Now, I don't know if you guys, I just got back from Clinton, Missouri, a real little small town in Missouri, where I presented the Healing Childhood Trauma Workshop that I do. I created a Healing Childhood Trauma Workshop, absolutely phenomenal 2-day workshop. Sometimes I condense it down to one, but I like to do it for 2 days. The first day I spoke for about 7.5, almost 8 hours. The second day I spoke for about 6.5 hours nonstop. I give everybody about a 30-minute lunch. I gave them a couple of cigarette breaks that were about 5 to 7 minutes long, but we were there to do the work. There is so much trauma that is caused by what has happened in childhood. And when the trauma is not fixed, it is not fixed, I shouldn't say fixed. When the trauma is not healed, it is passed down to your next of kin or your nearest relationship and or your work relationships. It just comes out of your body as if it's coming out like perspiration through every pore. It is not something that you can just ignore or forgive and walk off from. This is why in my Healing Childhood Trauma workshops, I don't talk about or I don't teach forgiveness. I teach healing. Healing and forgiveness are two separate things. This young man just said out of his mouth, even if I did forgive her, what does that mean? Are we supposed to be walking down the street holding hands and roasting marshmallows? Forgiveness is not how you heal from trauma. It's two separate things. Okay? Point blank, period. You can pray all you want, and you can probably pray yourself into forgiveness. But you ain't going to pray yourself into healing. I'll say that to you again. Yes, you can probably pray yourself into forgiveness. Oh, God, please forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Okay? I get it. You can forgive, you can pray yourself into forgiveness, but you cannot pray yourself into healing, because healing takes real work. It takes work. It takes strategies, process, tools, and steps of action that must be taken in order for you to go through the process of healing. Healing completely severs the tie. It burns the cord between you and your trauma. That's what healing does. Forgiveness does not do that. So what this young man is saying is that the text messages have been very hurtful, especially coming from his mother. So there's already trauma there. There's already situations there between he and Monique. So now, on top of that, he's saying there's already situations. Then, not to mention, you go ahead and post private text messages. So let's continue.
Hell no, bruh. I'm happy for you. You're happy for me. You got your husband. Hey, man, by the grace of God, you got 3 other sons. One of them boys will make you into the grandmother.
That's the shade I didn't like either.
He said one of them boys, his other brothers, are going to make her the grandmother that she wants to be. That's what he said.
Yeah. I didn't like that either. I didn't like the whole.
So he's basically saying, hey, you don't like me. You don't love me. At least that's how he feels. Now, Monique can say, well, I love you, I love you, I love you. But something is not happening because he doesn't feel it. He doesn't know it. He doesn't feel it. So let's go on to another part here.
I love my dad. I don't have a relationship with my dad. But my father is a private person, and I'm very big on respecting my father's privacy.
No, I can dig it. I can.
All right. So he said he doesn't have a relationship with his father. So you can see already that his relationship with his mother is very, very strained. And he doesn't have a relationship with his father. He also goes into saying that he himself has mental issues. He was diagnosed with bipolar. Let me see if I can find that.
You can't drive. Now, peep game. I'm not asking you to drive that 3 hours for me. That's a misconception.
This is such a long video, and I didn't write down every single part. But
Mother. Well, I know my mother, so.
Because that was one of the things that I really had a problem with. I had a problem with because in watching it and seeing it being read, to me it seemed
organic, like it was like you planned it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And that's Nicole and I talked about that. So okay, so what I was saying was
so this is him talking about why it sounded like his last video was so scripted. But anyway, so let me get to the main point that I want to get to. I can't find it right now in the video. But he goes on into, you know where I can find it? I know where I can find it. Hold on. I know exactly where I can find it. I can find it right here and pull it up for y'all because I want you to hear. It's a very, very important part where he talks about how upset he was at the routine that his mother is doing where she is calling him the N-word. And it's pretty I mean, he you can see that he is extremely hurt about it. Let me find it real fast. I promise you it's going to take me 2 seconds. Here, boom. Told you it's going to take me 2 seconds.
Bypassing the part. See, when you have 1.6 million followers and you win an Academy Award,
Wait a minute.
you told the world that I was a nigga.
Hold on. It's showing you a different thing. Hold on. Let me show you. And remove. Here we go. I'm gonna show you. Boom. Got it. All right.
One of my kids.
Boom.
Fuck. Even though I do think
Language,
a fuck
everybody.
you can't apply to
Language.
your kids.
You bypassing the part. See, when you have 1.6 million followers and you win an Academy Award, you told the world that I was a nigga. You keep trying to make it about fuck me. You told the world that I was a nigga and fuck him. My bills paid on time. My little girl runs to the door when she hear me put that key in that door. And I'm a nigga? Me and my woman figuring out our relationship every day, but I'm a nigga though. My girlfriend's mother and I have a phenomenal relationship, but I'm a nigga though.
Can you?
But I'm a black women holding their phones saying, yeah, fuck that little nigga, yo. Word? You keep trying to make it about the fuck you. She called me a nigga to the world. You said.
All right. So can you sense the palpable pain that he is in? For his mom to get on world television and to call him a name that obviously is very, very dear. I shouldn't say dear to him, but it causes a radical trigger. This is pain that we're watching. And pain and trauma that is not properly dealt with turns into disgust, where you become disgusted with a person. You become disgusted with their behavior. And he is saying, on one hand, that the mom that he needs, if you can read, I don't know if you guys can read it, but it says here, he later added, this is Shalon Jackson, he later added, you post text messages, right? Then you go on stage and call me the N-word and say F me. What if I would have went in my car and blew my effing brains out? End quote. Jackson revealed he had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, but without the delusional symptoms. Per the National Institute of Mental Health, bipolar disorder is a mental illness that causes unusual shifts in a person's mood, energy, activity levels, and concentration. As a schizophrenia, it's a serious mental illness that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. People with schizophrenia may seem like they have lost touch with reality, which can be distressing for them and their family and friends. So that little part was just, I believe, a part that the Jasmine brand included in their post. But Jackson himself says that he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, but without the delusional symptoms. He said, when you posted those messages, then went on stage, called me the N-word and said, F me. What if I would have went in my car and blew my effing brains out? And he actually says that in this video that you guys are watching right now. The need for therapy is so strong. And it's not strong just because he has bipolar schizophrenia or because his mom is Monique. It's so strong and has been so strong for years. This young man has literally been demonstrating for a long time. Now, I don't know him, but I can tell by just reading their text messages, by just watching the different videos that he has done, the videos that she has done, how she and Sydney have sat there, and she, meaning Monique, have sat there and talked about that he has mental health issues and this and that and the other, and she was a different mom back then than she is right now. Some of you people need to recognize that just what you went through when you were having these children, when they were younger, some of the things that you went through made you a different type of mom then than you are now, simply because of situations that you were in. You need to get therapy just because of the situations that you were in, because of the mindset that you had to adopt in order to survive. Your children need to get therapy just because of the way their mother was to them at that time, based on the situation. I don't know how many times I have to keep telling you that the mind of a child cognitively cannot understand, nor are they going to be able to understand just because they got older, be able to understand, oh, well, mom did this, well, dad did that because of this, because of that. It doesn't mean that it didn't hurt them, and it doesn't mean that their warped sense of understanding was not already created and grew inside of them at that point. At a younger age, kids, I mean, they can look at the Healing Childhood Trauma Workshop that I just did this past weekend, the weekend before last. Do you know there were people that were in there? This was the Henry County Court Rehabilitation Program, of which I am assigned to them for 3 years. I'm doing their program for 3 years to help the people in their community. I thank God for that. What a privilege and an honor. Thank you, Rebecca. And so there are people in there who have been in and out of jail doing hard drugs. And do you know the root of their problem is, some of them, the root of their problem is their parents got divorced. Now you may say to yourself, well, Megan, damn, that's not a big enough problem. It's big enough for them. And what I'm trying to get you guys to understand is stop thinking that, oh, well, your kid will get over it, or they should get over it, or you a grown man now, you need to get over it. There are some things that absolutely, as grown adults, you need to grow up, take care of your stuff, get your stuff together. But it does not mean that the little boy in him doesn't need therapy. It doesn't mean that the little girl in Monique doesn't need therapy. You cannot simply just think that by airing everything and telling your truth or telling the truth is a fix-it-all. It's not. All it's doing at this point is showing how much y'all need therapy. That's all it's doing. So for all of you out here who have a similar situation to Monique as it pertains to your son is doing all this kind of stuff. I just had a mother and son second therapy session this morning. You're having all these issues with your sons, all these issues with your daughter because you need some therapy. Sometimes you just need a therapist to be in there so that you can be heard in a way that your child can understand. And your child could be 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. Sometimes the child needs a therapist in the room who's 20, 30, 40 years old to be heard and understood by their mother or by their father or by their auntie or whoever. Stop thinking that you can just get on social media and do a tizzarizza. She's getting therapy too, from my understanding, and she better be. You can't just get on the internet and do 51 TikTok episodes about who the hell did I marry and think that that's going to cleanse all of the trauma that has been built up. It's not. In my Healing Childhood Trauma workshop, I talk about how trauma causes inflammation. How trauma, and I go over the stats, the statistics. This is a proven fact. Heart conditions, stress, inflammation, high blood pressure, all this stuff. So all you people running around here talking about black people got the highest rate of this and that and this and that. Why don't you go get some therapy? It'll probably help you bring some of that down. I'm just trying to help you. Make sure that you get you some therapy. Just because you've forgiven something does not mean that it does not still rest heavily in your physical body and in your mental mind, especially in your emotions. Then it's traveled down to your children. And then your children start to react in this way, and then you keep going off of emotion, and it's just a tornado, an uncontrollable tornado of which people are going to begin to lose serious sympathy for, because now the tornado is coming around the entire community and destroying, not helping. Is this making sense what I'm saying? So I want you guys to get you some therapy. I've got a couple of slots left open for the remedyforyoufoundation.org women's retreat. You know, the women's retreat is coming up in April. Go to remedy, the number 4, the letter U, foundation.org. There's a couple of more seats left. Please make sure that you do that. It is in Miami. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. For those of you who have a little more questions about it, you can go to the website. It's all there. You can pre-order my book. There it is. Tell the Truth by me, Megan McGlover. You can pre-order it right now. And what else do I have? Of course, Remedy for You Foundation is a nonprofit, so we take all donations. I love you guys so much. Please make sure you get some therapy. If you want to get it from me, you can go to mmcglover.com. If you want to get it from somebody else, go to somebody else. I don't care where you get it from. I just want you to get it. I just want you to get it. Also at mmcglover.com, you can sign up for the second and fourth Thursday of every month. We do a group therapy session. Okay? So there's no excuse. Go get you some therapy, get you some help, the help that you need. It is really, really important for you and for your children. It is important for you and for your children. And you need to heal. Even some of you who are not talking to your mother no more. I'm not talking to my daddy no more. I'm not talking to my kids no more. That's fine and dandy, but you still need to heal from the situation. You think just because you say, oh, I'm not talking to him no more, doesn't necessarily mean that you're healed. It just means you ain't talking to him. Am I talking to you right? Okay. I love you. Bye.